As promised, we're going to start discussing VEX Go. This is the second in the age level consideration for the VEX robotics programs. VEX 1, 2, 3 we finished up, and remember, these are not exhaustive courses on anything. I'm just introducing these platforms. I am also certified for VEX 1, 2, 3, meaning that if you go online to VEX, you can sign up and become certified on these platforms. I am certified now on VEX 1, 2, 3 and VEX Go, the one we're going to do next. And VEX IQ will come up next, and AIM is not available yet to purchase. When that becomes available, because if you look at the grades that it supports, VEX 1, 2, 3, pre-K through probably second grade, and then VEX Go, the one we're going to do starting today, grades 3 through 5, and then you see a little overlap there. VEX AIM is grades 4 through 12, and then what we're actually going to do next after Go is IQ, grades 5 through 8. You can see the progression. Another thing to point out is in VEX 1, 2, 3 and VEX Go, the one we're doing today, the only programming method is really block coding. Now in 1, 2, 3, you could punch in a sequence right on the face of the little robotic puck to tell it to go forward 1 square, to tell it to rotate left, rotate right, or make a sound. That was one level of programming, and it's the only, well, AIM also is going to have something similar. That's why AIM has such a broad age group range. With AIM, you can also program it from the face to some degree. And then with VEX 1, 2, 3, you had the VEX Coder. That's that black handheld device that wirelessly communicates with a little red puck, and it executes a program based on sliding in those cards that you see. That took the learner from doing something hands-on, punching in a sequence, which is right at the entry level of perception, and then it took them to actually creating a program that's in a remote device. When they pushed the buttons on the little puck, they were programming the device right on its face. Then when they went to the VEX Coder, that was a remote device, and they were using these different colored little magnetic strips that you slide in there to create a sequence. Then with VEX 1, 2, 3, you could use VEX Code 1, 2, 3, and then you started using VEX Code. And remember, VEX Code 1, 2, 3 is a stripped down version of VEX. And then you can see with VEX Go, today's subject, it also has block coding. VEX Go can only be programmed with block coding, whereas 1, 2, 3, you could program it on the face of the robot and with a VEX Coder. This was a segue into block coding. In VEX 1, 2, 3, you went from punching the membrane keypad on the robot, and then you went to the VEX Coder, which is wireless communication to the puck. Then you went to block coding. VEX 1, 2, 3 is a good segue from starting from scratch into the idea of block coding, because in VEX Go, that's all you got is block coding. Our next platform will be VEX IQ, which is blocks, block coding, Python, or C++. And you can see VEX AIM, which is not shipping yet. It may be by the time you watch this video. It has blocks and Python, and it's designed to start with 4th graders. And of course, these ages aren't cast in concrete. VEX 1, 2, 3, preschool, you could still get some use out of it even with grades 3 through 5. Consequently, VEX Go, because you don't have the direct programming on the puck or the VEX Coder, you're starting right with block coding. That's all you got. VEX Go is not a good starting point if the students or the learners don't have any experience with sequence and robotics. Let's jump into this. Okay, this is what you, if you follow the earlier videos, this is VEX 1, 2, 3. This is what you got. You got the little VEX Coder, the black handheld thing there. You got the little magnetic strips. You got an art ring, that red plastic ring that snaps on the red puck. You can add features to it, physical features, so the kids can get some entertainment out of it. You didn't need that playing field. Basically, that's just an easy way to associate the robot movements within a grid, spatial reasoning. So you don't need to buy that playing field. Now we're going to switch to VEX Go. You can see it's a whole different ball game, because with VEX 1, 2, 3, you didn't really build anything. You could put that little art ring on the puck and put in some pipe cleaners or little faces and stuff to kind of decorate it. This looks more like Legos. Now, this is not Legos, but it's the same concept of snapping together brightly colored parts. One of the interesting things about these kits, this one in particular, you can't see it, but underneath all of those parts, they're in like a clear plastic nest. And underneath of the nest are images of those parts. For the young people, it's easy to figure out how to put these parts back away when they're done with the project. This really introduces an almost unlimited platform for you to work with. But it is limited in the sense that, like with most Lego kits, although the kids will sit there and try to build almost anything else out of those parts by snapping them together, being creative. The kits that you bought with Legos, for the most part, the parts were specific for a design. In other words, put together something specific like a spaceship or a robot or something. Okay? These kits are the same way, but they're a little bit more specific, because a learner is not going to accidentally, without any instruction, probably snap together these parts into something that can be programmed and perform something. Product has extremely good resources for you to use. I mean, plans that you can print out step by step. And let's go take a look at one of those. For the sake of time, I'm not going to show you the path that I took to get to this spot in the VEX website. It is under VEX Go, and it is under STEM Labs. I just scanned down through dozens of these, and I'm going to pick one to show you the quality of the instructions that they provide you to work with your students. Now, I'm going to take the self-driving code base because I think this has the most appeal for the kids, because it's something that they can drive around. They can program it. And it comes in 3 formats. I'm going to pick printable downloadable file, PDF, as opposed to the other 2, because everybody kind of understands what a PDF is. I'm going to open up a PDF, and in this PDF there are self-driving code base activity series teacher's notes. I'm going to scroll down through here, setting up the self-driving scenario. You can see there's a lot of links in here. Let's go to the code base build instructions. It opens up what looks like a PowerPoint, and I'm going to scroll down through this. It shows you what parts you're going to need. You're going to need 28 red pens, 2 red shafts. See, it's all color-coded. It's almost impossible not to be able to pick out these parts out of those 2 trays. And then it has you start assembling. Now, this set of instructions right here alone is excellent. You got 2 red pens, you snap them into 2 specific holes in what they call the gray large plate, and then you snap the yellow connector onto that. And then you snap another yellow connector on. Now you prepare a motor with 4 red pins and a red shaft. You could call it an axle if you want. And then you snap that onto that gray plate. And then you add 2 red pins to the motor to connect to the other side of what you're going to build. Then you start building a plate that's going to go between the 2 halves. And then you're going to snap that onto the one side of the drive section that you've got completed. And now you're going to build the other drive section. And it mirrors what you did already. And now you snap that in, and now you've got kind of a chassis. The next thing, you slide the wheels onto the shaft, and you got these little locking collars They're friction fit, and then you put on the blue wheels. And you can see as I go down through here that how could you miss? I mean, this is really easy to follow, and they have instructions like this for everything in the VEX Go. Now in the VEX 123, you didn't get that because there was nothing to build. The VEX Go literally is the Go part of 1, 2, 3, Go. It shows you exactly where to plug the motors into, to port 1 and port 4 on the VEX processor. Okay, and there you have the finished code base. Let's pick another one, another STEM lab. This is the robot arm, and there are 5 labs. And you can scroll down here and see the goal in each of the 5 labs. Now this one down here is using an electromagnet on the end of the robot arm, the end effector, to pick up these plastic discs over here that have a piece of metal in it. It can pick them up and place them. And let's just pick something simple and go to the unit overview, and it gives you some explanation, unit understandings, shows you the 5 labs, unit standards, and if you go to next, it's going to talk about there are 4 builds in this unit: a manual robot arm, a motorized robot arm, a code robot arm. That means you're going to add a brain, a processor that moves 1 axis, and then add more programming that moves 2. I'm just kind of jumping around here, showing you and this is all available. Lab 3, Play Part 1 Solution. This is the block coding that you started with in VEX 123 and is going to be maintained as a programming tool all the way through all of the VEX products. They're actually giving you little sections of code, and we're not going to stop and analyze these. But you can see that VEX Go has an incredible level of content. I mean, there's more here than you could do in a semester. And they have something in these programs called a choice board. As you're going through these programs with the students, there's a choice board. They can actually pick what labs they want to do, because there are labs that I think you would be hard-pressed to get everything done that's available in VEX Go in 1 semester, maybe not even in 2. And they keep adding stuff. I encourage you to get on the VEX website, go to VEX Go. You can go to any of the 8 platforms, but VEX Go is a good starting place. VEX 123, that was very limited, but it was a good segue from nothing into block coding. But with VEX Go, you're going to be hard-pressed to exhaust everything that's available in these resources. This doesn't come with VEX Go, but it can be purchased separately. It's a playing field. So there are all kinds of devices on here that play into the fantasy or creativity of the learners for a lot of the builds that the instructions are there for. So you could say that the online resources support using this playing field, or you could say the playing field supports a lot of the projects that are available in the VEX Go resources. I think you're really going to be impressed when you go to, and today we're doing VEX Go. In case somebody notices, if they're looking close at my camera capture of me, and you see 2 objects sitting up on top of the bookcase, those are LED lanterns. I'm moving down to near Nashville, Tennessee. Currently I'm in Columbus, Indiana, and I've already purchased a house down there, and we're in the process of moving down there. All of my studio stuff, for the most part, is down there. So all my lighting that I would normally use is down there, so I'm doing the best I can. And those 2 little lanterns, if I turn them on, then they cause the CCD, or the aperture in the digital camera, to close up a little. And if you watch a lot of stuff streaming with people, FaceTime, you'll notice the effect at the background albedo, that's the amount of lumens coming off of it affect what the camera does. So those lights are there to outsmart the camera. If I turn them on, it makes my face darker because it closes down the aperture, because a CCD averages everything. That's just a little worthless side note for the geeks in our group. In the next section, my plan is to do programming examples, just like we did with VEX Code 123 with VEX Code Go, some programming examples. See you in the next one.